Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Let's be friends, everybody. We're here for another Talk More Talk episode. And that's the solo Beatles video cast program where we talk about the careers of John, Paul, George, and Ringo after they disbanded from the Beatles. And Tom was the first one to show it. We're going to be discussing Ringo's new EP, EP3. Okay. And we'll be getting to that very shortly. But before I do, I'm Joe Mayo. I have a YouTube channel called Mean Mr. Mayo. You might know my brother, Mr. Mustard. Well, that's where that comes from. And I'm going to introduce my colleagues here to start with. It's none other than the Sun Queen, queen of all EPs for this particular show. I'm talking about the author of a few books, including Michael Jackson, FAQ. Okay, and also Fandom and the Beatles, and also I thought I had them. Come on, songs we were singing, guided tours through the Beatles' lesser known tracks. I was just saying at the beginning of the show, I no longer need notes. I got it in here, and that was the Kiss of Death, of course. So it's Kid O'Toole we're talking about here. Kid O'Toole. Hello, Kid.
Hello, Joe, Tom, Ken, and everybody. It's great to be live again with
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
everybody.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And next up, we have one of the two legs for the show, Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast from sweltering Arizona. How's that for an
Yes.
introduction? It's none other than the great Tom Hunyadi.
Hey,
Look
how
at that!
you
Look
doing?
at that! Yeah, see,
Look at that. Look at that. This is how, this is what happens when you're in Arizona. You get burnt.
t-shirt, t-shirt, tan. Okay,
Yeah.
welcome there, Thomas.
Hey,
And
thank you.
last but not least at all by any means, we have the 40-year veteran, as I like to call him, who's been in the biz, talking about the Beatles and doing radio programs on the Fabs. He has so many things on his plate. It's hard to remember them all the time. He has the syndicated radio show, Every Little Thing. He has a podcast called Things We Said Today. And he also has a YouTube channel, Ken Michaels Radio. And I think I think that's everything. If there's anything else,
On
let
this
me know.
show.
This
This show.
Well, no, this goes without saying. This goes without saying. Talking about the man I just named, Ken Michaels. Ken, hello.
I've got too much on my plate.
Wait.
You can't resist
Only one
sometimes,
that can sing off key here.
Right.
but hopefully you've got time to be a decent lover. Anyway, hopefully. The lyrics.
A little personal.
All right. yeah, I don't know. You just go with the flow live, folks. So like I said, we're going to be talking about Ringo's new EP. We have a lot of news because we've been away for a while doing this, live together for a while, and there's a lot of things coming, which we'll talk about as we go along. After the news, Ken's going to be talking about a few things like Ringo in concert. He got to see Ringo again,
Mhm.
and also we're going to have a special announcement coming up after the news, so that'll keep you waiting. Ken, take it away.
Okay, well, first of all, major announcement here. Ringo will be on television tomorrow morning. He'll be on CBS Mornings being interviewed. That's sometime between 7 and 9 a.m. No doubt talking about this. And probably his all-star band tour. So write it down, don't forget it, and then you can watch it on YouTube later probably. But Ringo on CBS Mornings tomorrow on Tuesday, sometime between 7 and 9. Boy, I tell you, I've got a lot of news here, and it's a reminder of how long it's been since we've done a show here live. Got to mention, of course, the box set coming out for Revolver. That will be on October the 28th. There will be various versions coming out. You guys probably know all this already.
Yeah.
But it's being presented in special edition packages. There's a Super Deluxe 5 CD set, Super Deluxe 4 LP set, a deluxe 2 CD version, a standard 1 CD version, limited edition picture disc, and standard 1 LP vinyl, also available digitally and for streaming. The Super Edition 5 CD set is selling, last I checked, on Amazon, $139.99. The 4 LP 7-inch vinyl EP version runs at $199.99. And already there's been a new remix for Taxman available on streaming services.
Ken?
What's that?
1 second, Amazon right now has it at $111.52 for the big box set.
Well, let's stop everything right now and just order it at this
There you
price.
go.
Well, earlier it was $139.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. So
That's
keep
quite
checking,
a
folks.
difference.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
We just lost half our audience there.
Yeah.
All right. Along with the news about Revolver, still no word about a box set for Sometime in New York City. Very upsetting at this point. I hope that changes. Well, it has been the major news story of the past 2 weeks. Obviously, the world mourning the loss of Queen Elizabeth II, who passed away on September the 8th. Paul McCartney wrote a nice piece on his website going through the many times he met the Queen. I'll run it by real fast, but he started by mentioning how at the age of 10, he entered an essay competition in Liverpool and won for his division on his essay about the British monarchy. He also recalled that when the Queen was crowned, everyone on his street in Speak Liverpool got a television set just to watch the coronation in glorious black and white. Paul said he got to meet the Queen 8 or 9 times. Some of those highlights included the Beatles receiving their MBEs, members of the British Empire, the medals for that. They received that before the Queen in Buckingham Palace on October the 26th, 1965. Of course, John returned his 4 years later. The Queen attended the opening for Paul's Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts in June of 1966 at the same school that Paul and George attended, and with the Queen making a donation as well. The following year, 1997, it was a very proud day for Paul when he was knighted before the Queen. And Paul also celebrated the Queen's Golden Jubilee by performing at the Party at the Palace concert that was held June 3rd, 2002. And on stage, he sang the song Her Majesty for the Queen. Paul also performed in front of the Queen for her Diamond Jubilee. That was on June 4th, 2012. And the last time Paul and the Queen met was in 2018, when Her Majesty gave Paul the Companion of Honor Medal. Paul said that every time he met the Queen, he was impressed with her sense of humor and great dignity. Just recently, it was reported that Paul may, in fact, become a lord, but with the Queen's passing, that will now be up to King Charles to decide whether Paul will receive that honor.
He's a fan.
I certainly hope so. Also today, on September the 19th, the funeral for the Queen took place. I was wondering whether or not Paul might show up since he was knighted. It seemed like there were no celebrities there except David Beckham.
Yeah, not many. Yeah, it was more the foreign dignitaries and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Paul appeared in a tribute to Taylor Hawkins in a concert that took place Saturday, September 3rd at Wembley Arena. The concert was first broadcast live on MTV YouTube, with a 1-hour edited version being broadcast that night on CBS. Paul appeared with Chrissie Hynde to perform a Beatles song that he's never done live until now. And that was Oh Darling, with Paul and Chrissie sharing the lead vocals in a duet. Paul also performed Helter Skelter, though that song was not included in the CBS broadcast. You guys see this?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts? You probably said it on your shows already, but
Well,
say something quickly.
yeah. Quickly is if I wish if he sound checked it first, maybe he shouldn't have done it. I mean, if it was just a promptu thing, fine. We're glad he tried it. But then again, I don't even think Chrissie Hynde sang it that well either. I mean, musically it sounded great, but the way they approached the song vocally just didn't match it musically. That's just my opinion. But then again, That being said, I'm glad he tried it.
For me, I would say, Chrissy Hines sounded all right to me. It's always nice when Paul does a different song. Hey, he's never done this before, but he didn't sound very good on that one. I didn't think, and it's unfortunate. But when he did Helter Skelter, which I heard, I mean, he sounded good to me. Again, he's been doing that for some time now, and he's got that nailed.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Helter Skelter is usually a good choice for him, but I thought "Oh Darling" was kind of an odd choice because, I mean, as you said, Joe, yeah, I applaud him for trying different things, but I just don't think that's a good choice for him now.
I mean, that's reaching new heights. I mean,
Exactly.
trying
I
to
mean,
do that song.
I mean, he had to work on that song when he recorded it, in '69.
Yeah,
I mean, how many takes did he have to do? I mean, that's a tough song. And I have to agree, Tom. I mean, Chrissy Hine didn't sound bad, but I mean, I thought she sounded okay. I wasn't excited at times the way she approached it. So, I just think it was not the best choice for the way his voice is now.
Right.
But yeah, Helter Skelter was fine. I mean, that's he's, as you said, he has that nailed live.
He just knocked it out of the park pretty much with Glastonbury.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty good. And I liked him when I saw him in June. So
I thought he was.
I'm happy overall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as my colleague on Things We Said Today, Alan Cozen, said, "Oh Darling" is a tough enough song to do if you're 30.
Right.
Yeah.
He's 80 years old now.
Right.
So we don't know the circumstances as to why that song was chosen.
Well, apparently it was a Taylor Hawkins favorite.
That's what I figured. There had to be some reason. Yeah.
All right. Well, I applaud Paul for trying and just for being there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably more important, really, than the performance. The fact that
somebody in the comments says, "Could you imagine Ann Wilson instead of Chrissy Hine doing that?"
That's
we
go.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That'd be interesting to hear.
She's a big time Beatles fan too. She could belt it out on that one.
Yeah, you bet.
All right. The Beatles came up big in this year's 74th Creative Arts Emmy Awards, with their documentary Get Back winning several awards, including Outstanding Directing for a Documentary Nonfiction Program, went to Peter Jackson. Outstanding Documentary or Nonfiction Series, Peter Jackson, Paul, Ringo, Yoko, Olivia, and Claire Olson. Getting the award for that. Outstanding Picture Editing for a Nonfiction Program. Outstanding Sound Editing for a Nonfiction or Reality Program, single or multi-camera. Outstanding Sound Mixing for a Nonfiction or Reality Program, single or multi-camera. 5 awards there. So happy for the team, Peter Jackson and the crew there, because a phenomenal job done all around, and nice to see it acknowledged this way. Also, McCartney's 3-2-1 documentary with Rick Rubin was nominated for Outstanding Cinematography for a Nonfiction Program, but lost out to 100-Foot Wave. All right. Billboard is reporting that Paul McCartney has teamed up with PETA, India, after seeing 2 videos of an elephant in India being beaten by handlers. And they have sent a letter to the Indian government requesting help for the animal named Jaimal Yatha. In his letter, Paul said, "I have considered India a spiritual place ever since I traveled there in the 1960s. I was impressed by India's cultural love for animals. I know India reveres elephants, its national heritage animal, but cruelty to animals happens everywhere, even in India. What reflects on a country's values is how that cruelty is addressed." Paul and Peter are urging officials to move the elephant to a reputable rescue center immediately. Always an important cause where the McCartneys are concerned. Paul, Linda when she was alive, the family.
Absolutely.
And they're still keeping at it. All right, Record Store Day in November. We'll see the release.
Otherwise known as Tom Magnotti Day.
Yeah.
Tom's getting online now.
As soon as we're done here, I'm getting in line.
All right, it'll be November the 25th, Record Store Day, and it will see the release of Ringo Starr's Old Wave on vinyl from the label Culture Factory USA. Only 2,000 copies will be made. And I learned this from Joe's video. It'll be on smoke brown vinyl, and there will be a bonus track never before released on vinyl. The bonus track is As Far As We Can Go. When Old Wave came out on CD in 1994, it had that as a bonus track. As Far As We Can Go is a song that actually goes back to the Bad Boy sessions. And there's an early version that was recorded then, and that was the bonus track on the CD, and that's what'll be on here. Also, Old Wave will be coming out on CD, but only 500 will be made of that.
Wow.
Plenty more Ringo to go around here. Ringo's Live at the Greek Theater 2019, recorded September 1st that year, is coming out, which for a while has been available to stream on the Coda Collection video channel available for Amazon Prime members. This is going to end up being a 2 LP set with only 2,000 copies made. And there'll be 2 versions coming out of the Ringo the Fourth album. One on translucent orange, 1,000 copies will be made. The other translucent blue, 755 copies pressed. There'll also be a compilation called, I'm really interested in this, The Best of Dark Horse Records, 1974 to 1977, with many of the artists that were signed to George Harrison's Dark Horse label. That's coming out on vinyl, 2,150 copies made for that one. Finally, speaking of Dark Horse Records, the late Joe Strummer will have an album called Live at the Music Millennium coming out on vinyl with 3,600 copies made. That's on the Dark Horse label. This was a live performance from the famous independent record store in Portland, done in 1999. And as I said, Record Store Day will be November 25th.
Excellent.
All right.
Tom's writing all this down. I just saw him
He
looking
knows it
at
already.
I got the list already.
I know, I know.
They
Oh,
call
he
him
knows.
the Switch of
I don't know
Ringo.
how he does it, but he knows.
All right, the home of John Lennon's mother, Julia, will be going under the hammer at Omega Auctions. The 3-bedroom house on Bloomfield Road in Liverpool played a significant role in the developing musical relationship between John and Paul. The two of them rehearsed at the house with the Quarrymen bandmates. Lennon's mother, Julia, lived in the home with her husband, John Bybee Dykins, from 1950 until her death in 1958, with John's half-sisters, Julia Baird and Jacqueline Dykins. John was a frequent visitor while he lived with his Aunt Mimi on Menlove Avenue, and the auction will be online, is expected to fetch £250,000, and the auction will finish on September 26th at 1900 British Standard Time. Okay, we should all go in on this. Maybe all the podcast shows will all just chip in and we'll all.
There you go.
Hey, not a bad idea.
So got a lot of news one at a time on various Lennons here. Julian Lennon just hosted a special called Jude Behind the Album this past Wednesday. This was an interactive event on the platform called Looped. It was hosted by Nicole Alvarez from the radio station KROQ. I was told you had to sign up for this, and the event sold out quickly. No word as to whether or not this special will be available on streaming services. Julian's album Jude came out September the 9th. I've only had a chance to listen to the album once, so I'm not going to comment on it too soon. I know
I
Joe
enjoy it.
did a whole video on that on his channel, which you should check out. Yoko Ono and the Plastic Ono Super Band live in Japan concert. Say that fast. Released in Japan by Idol Records on all streaming services tomorrow. Yoko had a superstar lineup for a band consisting of Michael Brecker on sax, Randy Brecker on trumpet, Steve Gadd and Rick Marotta on drums, Dave Grolnick on keyboard, Steve Kahn on guitar, and Andy Muson on bass. This concert was the first of one of 6 concert performances in Japan from Yoko and the band from August 1974, and it coincided with the final day of the One Step Festival in Tokyo. According to Madeline Baccaro, who wrote that new book on Yoko Ono, she already has it on CD, Madeline does. and she actually got it from someone who lives in Japan who ordered it there on CD. There's supposed to be a vinyl edition coming out October the 28th. It's called Let's Have a Dream 1974 One Step Festival Special Edition. There's also the possibility of a DVD release. And I do know for a fact you can stream the whole thing on YouTube right now if you want to listen to it.
Oh.
All right, let's go to another Lennon here. Sean Lennon will be performing October 5th through the 8th at John Zorn's Performance Space, now located at the New School in New York City. Sean will be premiering an instrumental project which is called Asterisms. There will be no advance ticket sales for this. It's 8 p.m. at the door. Concerts start at 8:30. Tickets are walk up, first come, first serve. And this is a very small venue with a capacity of only 62 people per night. Mask and vaccination proof will be required for entry. The Stone at the New School is located at 55 West 13th Street.
I like that about the first come, first serve. You know, that gives everybody a fair chance to get the tickets. I think that's cool.
I know, but 62 people?
Yeah. Well,
go real quick.
Yes, it will, but at least you won't have to pay a third-hand party, to get the ticket.
These days.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Maybe Paul should try that next time.
Yeah. There you go.
First come, first serve.
Okay, we still have a bit more. Beatle Fan is reporting that a 4 CD set of George Martin's pre-Beatles work will be released on Cherry Red Records on November 25th in the UK. And it'll be called George Martin, A Painter in Sound. So if you never was aware of all the work that George Martin did before the Beatles, what prepared him for the Beatles, this is a good history lesson right here. There's a brand new TV commercial for the Peacock channel where they're using the Beatles song All Together Now. Not the Beatles recording, but Beatles songs are always being used in commercials. News concerning 2 cover versions being released. First, the last album made by the late Dr. John will be coming out this Friday, called Things Happen That Way, and it includes a cover of the Traveling Wilbury song, End of the Line.
Oh.
It has, as a special guest, Aaron Neville, helping out, sharing lead vocals.
Oh, wow.
Special thanks to Scott O'Rourke for that information. And Monkees fans are aware of this. A cover version of Man We Was Lonely from the late Davy Jones was just released digitally and available.
Turn around, Tom. I'm sorry. Man, it was lonely. I'm sorry.
This is from the forthcoming solo collection from Davy called Manchester Boy on 7A Records, with very special thanks to my Monkees expert, Fred Velez. He told me that Davy's recording first came out on a series of individual CDs that Davy put out himself called Just for the Record. And volume 2 of the set included demos that Davy recorded in the 70s, which is where Man Who Was Lonely comes from. And in 1999, there was a box set of all those CDs that came out. And actually before that, all those other individual CDs, Davy released separately on his own official fan site. Then a box set came out in 1999. So what 7A is now releasing in Manchester Boy is a sampler of the best songs from the box set. And the majority of these songs will be making their debut on vinyl. It'll be coming out on CD and 180-gram splatter vinyl. That's just for Tom. It's coming out that way.
Oh, very good.
A few events coming up. You can meet our colleague, our 5th Talk More Talker, Ken Womack, this Wednesday at Monmouth University in New Jersey from 4:30 to 5:45 p.m. when he'll be reading from his forthcoming book, a biography of Beatles roadie Mal Evans. Haven't heard if that's being streamed at all. I do believe it might be recorded. I saw that on Facebook today.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything yet, for sure.
Okay. And there'll be something called the Super Mega Fest happening September 30th through October 2nd at the Westford Regency Inn in Westford, Massachusetts. Pete Best will be a special guest there all 3 days.
And I'm going.
Are you? Oh, cool.
You are going?
Yes.
You might see
Cool.
me there.
Unless anything, unless
Oh.
who's going to be there?
Pete Best and me.
Yeah, but I know that. I thought you said you might what? See me there? Did
Oh.
you say, Ken? I don't know what you said.
I was going to mention, in addition to Pete Best, the Circle will also be
Okay.
there as well. This was the band that toured with the Beatles, the American band, in 1966 when they toured America. And I'm told that on the Saturday only, Pete Best will get behind the kit and drum with the Circle.
Oh,
Hmm.
The way to see
wow.
that is
Very
on
cool.
Saturday. There's
I'm
also
glad I'm going. I'm ready. I got my hotels and everything.
Nice.
there's a really fun band where I know the two of the members of it that started it, called the Onos, and they're a Massachusetts band. They're going to be playing as well at this.
Oh
And,
no.
oh, yeah. Every
Oh.
time I see them perform and they know if I'm in the audience, they play "Don't Let Me Wait Too Long." Just
Aw.
Oh, very
Hmm.
cool.
How nice.
know that Living in the Material World is my favorite.
Mhm.
And then finally, well, two of the people who are in the Onos started something years ago called Harry Fest. They had to change the name of it. It's now called the George Harrison Tribute. That takes place October 29th at White's in Westport, Massachusetts. There's a lot of performances from New England, people playing a lot of George Harrison music and Beatle music, and proceeds from this go to cancer research. And they've been doing this every single year, except when COVID got in the way. So that's Friday night actually, and Saturday. Saturday is most of the events that day. I should be there for that too.
Cool.
All right, that's all the news this time.
Wow.
Catching up.
Whoa. Ooh-wee,
That's a
that's a
lot.
lot. See what
That's a
what
lot.
happens when we're not live for
Yep.
a long time.
What's that?
Well, Ken, why don't you tell us about your latest concert where you saw Ringo Starr and his all-star band? And I know it's going to be interesting, so let us have it.
Well, that was the first show when he returned back to the stage, and that was at Tanglewood in Massachusetts. This is my first concert ever there, which I've always been told has such great sound, and they really do. This was an amphitheater, so there was, I think, something like 1,500 people that were covered. The rest were all on the lawn, and it poured that night, by the way. But I was
Oh,
inside. I was
Ooh.
But the band was just on fire. I mean, they were so incredibly tight. Except Ringo forgot the words a few times to some of his songs. That was the only
oh,
throughout the. But this is one of the best performances I've heard recently from this band. And I got to tell you, and I've been to quite a lot of Ringo shows. At least half of this concert, the audience was standing up through it. They were that
Wow.
respectful of this performance. Especially even though Ringo wasn't on stage for it, when they do Frankenstein, oh my God, what a number.
yeah.
They really killed it. And Greg Bissonette on drums doing solos during it, going back and forth with Edgar Winter playing percussion. Oh, the crowd loved it. And I think part of the magic of this show, as much as, believe me, I want the set list to change with Ringo going deeper, and even the other members too. But so many of these people, these are just casual fans. You mentioned Colin Hayes' name, plenty of them don't know he was in Men at Work, but they know the songs. And then they'll go, oh, I didn't know he's the guy that sang it. You know,
Sure.
same thing with Hamish Stewart and the Average White Band. You know, it was a really fun evening and really enjoyable all throughout. But what I enjoyed the most was seeing how much the crowd really loved it. And just like I say this with Paul, you get a mixture of young and old people there, parents bringing their kids, and also just being relieved, you know, after a couple of years of COVID, to just go out and see a show of any kind, and being grateful that Ringo is still out there doing this. So, you know, it was just an amazing performance overall. And I'm going to see him one more time. And
Really?
that's in Bridgeport, which is, I can practically walk there from my house. So I couldn't
Oh,
resist the opportunity to see Ringo again.
Why not if it's that close, right? You
Really?
might as well. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Frankenstein with Edgar Winter. I mean, I'm glad I got to see him do that, and free ride at one of his other all-star shows, because when I saw him in June in Manhattan, and you went to that show too, Ken, or one of them, right? He
First one.
wasn't there. He had COVID, Edgar Winter, so I missed it in June.
Right. You were at
You
the
know,
second show.
yeah, the second show. So I missed it, but I'm thankful I'd gotten to see it in the past.
Mhm.
Because I love that when he's playing the organ that he has around him and everything. It's
And he plays
cool
the
seeing that.
sax,
Yeah, and you know
percussion,
how much we love those horns. So saxophones. All right.
especially Kit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Both of
Yep,
us. Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
thanks for that, Ken. And now we have a special announcement. This here today is our 99th show, which means the next episode will be the 100th Talk More Talk show. Ooh, can't believe it, right?
Believe it? Wow.
And Kit wants to tell you about a special show we're going to be doing. Go ahead, Kit.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so yes, we are celebrating our 100th episode. Yeah, can you believe the first one we did was about Egypt Station? Remember that? Our very first episode. So to celebrate our 100th episode, we want to invite you guys who have supported us since day one, or those of you who joined our family later on. We thank you too for all of your support. We always say we can't do it without you. We want to invite you into this room with us, into this Zoom room. We want to play another round of Rack Our Brains with you. So what we're going to do is, in fact, I think the link went live on our Facebook page as we've been talking. And I think the link, I have it up in our YouTube community page as well. I'm not sure if it's live yet. If it isn't, it will be soon. And we need you to register to join the Zoom room. Now, the last time we did this, it went really, really long. So to avoid it this time, we're limiting it to 25 people. So the first 25 that register get in. It's first come, first served. And we're also limiting it to one question per person, because otherwise, it could be another 3-hour episode.
Another 3-hour tour.
Another 3-hour tour. That's right. And so that's all you need to do is just register. This will be for the next episode, which is Monday, October 3rd, at, of course, 9 p.m. Although we'd like you to come at the latest, like 10 minutes before, so that we all can, get the sound and video and all that going, so that we can get right on the air at 9 p.m. sharp. Yeah. So we look forward to seeing you all. We just ask you to register, before October 3rd, and we are looking forward to answering your Rack Our Brain questions, and we look forward to having our brains racked.
And we should mention they're not trivia questions.
No, not trivia questions. Yeah, you guys know the drill. Yeah, these are not trivia questions. These are opinion questions. Mm-hmm. See what you think, just what version. I always use the example, but this is a very simple example of, which version of Maybe I'm Amazed do you prefer, the live or the studio, and why? But it can go way beyond that. So, and it can be, I guess we can make it that it doesn't have to be just solo. It can be, it can be about Beatles too. So,
Sure.
We can widen the scope a bit. So we look forward to this, and we look forward to celebrating our 100th with you guys. So that is the big announcement.
Yeah. Right. And, if you want to ask something that's really unusual of us, feel free. Mm-hmm. There's so many things that we haven't tackled yet here on this show, especially where it concerns the group. So maybe you want to hear that side of us, our views about certain things where the group is concerned. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as being too weird for us. We're weird people. So we'll adjust.
You may regret that, Ken.
Oh, man.
All right. Thanks, Kit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's get on with our regular show that we're going to do. And once again, I'll show the EP. No glare. EP3. Uh, some people think the title was clever. Me personally, I like a different title, but we're talking about the music, not the title, right? So we've got 4 tracks on this to discuss, and this is the third EP. You might have guessed by the title. And there were other EPs. Zoom in March of 2021, and then 6 months later, in September of 2021, Ringo put out "Change the World," and that was 6 months apart. Now this one, the third one, we're getting a year later. But I thought before we started, I would just run it by you three and get some feelings. There's been some controversy. At first everybody was excited at the idea. Oh, Ringo's doing EPs. That's cool. But then as we're getting more and more, people are saying, why doesn't he just save these for an album? And they were also wondering, some people are, this winds up costing more money, they say, as you go along. You got to buy these, 3 times what you could put on one album. And I was just wondering, any thoughts you might have? Anybody? You could chime in.
I don't really mind the EP format. I mean, it means we get more music from him, more often. It's kind of it's kind of a nice thing. I mean, we don't have to wait for months, or not months, but years, in between each album. So it's kind of a treat in a way to get them, get it once a year now. And I know, a lot of the complaints have been about the price. That in so many, now admittedly, I get the MP3 version, and it's a lot cheaper. I will admit. So I don't get the CD, so I'm not sure. I forget how much the CD is. But I don't know. You know, I mean, there are some legitimate complaints about that. But I don't know. I've been kind of enjoying the EP format, because you get music more often. So, so I don't object.
Me too. I'm
Hmm.
okay with it. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think this is pretty much almost the same amount in quantity, song-wise, that Ringo would do if he put out albums, because he would release an album once every 2 years. Here we have the span of, under 2 years, and we have between 3 EPs, 13 songs. I definitely understand about the price thing, but I also think that it's kind of smart in a business way for him to do this, because every time he puts out an EP, he can get publicized for it. He can give interviews. His name is out there more. He can plug this, he can plug the All-Star Band. I only wish that for someone who seems to be so proud of these new songs, he'd go out there and perform them with the All-Star Band. But no, I don't really mind this. I think he feels like once he has 4 songs done, great, I can put something out now. He doesn't have to wait
Yeah.
till he finishes an entire album. And also, you got to realize things were a little bit different because of COVID. He couldn't have all these musicians in his studio at the same time or visiting him. So a lot of the things that he recorded were sent to him digitally that he had to put together that way. It made it easier for him. He's been doing a lot of work with his co-producer, Bruce Sugar. And if you look, he's not teaming up with all the people from all the post Mark Hudson albums, with the exception of someone like Steve Lukather, who's been playing tremendous guitar on these songs and co-writing many of them. But I don't know if that's a factor, but it makes things a lot easier if he could do things with less people. He could probably do things. He's got his own studio.
Yep.
So once he gets 4 songs done, he figures, hey, this is good enough to come out this way. And if we get the same amount quantity wise, I'm okay with it. I'm grateful for anything he puts out at this point. He's 82 years old. He doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to tour. So everything we get at this stage is icing on the cake, as far as I'm concerned.
Susan here in the comments says one good thing I found with the EP format is that I get to know the songs much better, and that's true. You know,
point.
that is true. And I was
Yeah.
thinking though, EP stands for extended play. When they used to have 45 RPMs with an A and B side, you got two songs, so they put out maybe four songs and call it an extended play or an EP. Some people have pointed out, it's a good point, I think, that in a way, these CDs are not EPs for CDs. They're shorter than a CD. When it comes to they're SPs, shortened play.
Right.
Really, when you
Yeah.
think about it. But hey, just wanted to cover that. And
Well, let me. I got
Yeah.
2
Yes,
cents.
sir.
I got to throw in too. Price wise, look, CD physical media is not selling as well as it used to. So you got to understand that these companies are in the money making business, and they're going to try to make money anywhere they can. Now, could Ringo say something and change the price? Maybe not. It's not. I remember, watching that Tom Petty documentary, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers documentary a few years back, and he actually sued his record company because they wanted to raise the price. And he got them to not raise the price, which is pretty amazing. Now, is Ringo going to do that? Probably not. But this has been happening for years. We talked about this before, Joe. When those Soprano DVDs came out in the early 2000s, they were charging $100 a season for those.
Right.
$100. Now,
Jeez.
now I love me some Sopranos, but is it really worth $100
Yes.
per season?
No, but I
mean,
got you. Now
yeah.
you can get the whole series for maybe
Yeah.
$60.
Yeah, I got
I
got the whole series on Blu-ray for under $90.
Wow.
I got it for 60.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that definitely the case. And Ringo, I don't believe Ringo has anything to do with the price,
Right.
directly. And without naming figures, I know Tom got it for
I got $10.99.
well, okay, $10.99 and I got it $12.99, and
Hmm.
anyway, if that's a personal choice if you want it or not.
Yeah.
If some people are frustrated because they say, but I really do want it. That's the problem. I collect these. I
Right.
want them, but I don't know. But the price of lunch one day, I don't know, skip
Right.
lunch for a day or
Well, we
two.
can't. I mean, the foreign markets, Joe. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, that's out of our hands. I mean, all we can do is just feel bad for our foreign market friends. I mean, if their if their price is higher, then again, that's shipping.
The foreign market is a whole nother story.
Yeah.
It's expensive. But all right, well, I'd like to get into.
wait.
Okay.
Hold on.
As George Harrison once said, it's what you value.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
What do you value? You know what I mean?
I have a problem with the price of all these box sets that have come out, from the solo Beatles and the Beatles, except the Lennon ones, which I think, you get a lot more for your money with the Lennon
Right.
box.
Yeah, I agree.
But, I don't hear people complaining that much about the price of the box sets. And I think
Oh, well,
that
I do.
Oliver box are too
Mhm.
expensive. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to see people also complain about their other favorite artists too. When that box set comes out and they're paying $200 for the latest Metallica box set, I want to hear those people complain too.
Yeah.
All right. Woo. All right. Let's have some fun now.
Let's lighten the mood.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The music. I thought the way I go about this is pretty basic. We'll just start each song by song and go around. That's what I'd like to do. I like to just mention something about the first track, "World Go Round," which of course we already talked about in the past, and I've done a video on it, and I went on record as saying that for "World Go Round," I didn't really think much of it. I didn't think it was terrible or anything. It was okay, and but it was again to me the typical Ringo formula these days. Life can be confusing. Be careful what you're using is a line that I thought was clever in it. But it was written by Steve Lukather and Joseph Williams. But but it has Ringoisms in it. We're all in this together, carry on, that whole kind of thing. And what I want to say about it before we start is that when I got the CD, and I'd heard it the first time online, I played it a couple of times. When it came out, it was dropped. As soon as I put the CD on, bang, I loved the sound of it.
Hmm.
I was like, is this the same song that I didn't really care too much for? Because it hit me right this time, and I wound up really enjoying it. High energy, up tempo. All these songs are kind of up tempo, I think. And the guitar work is. Well, I like the guitar work anyway. I guess Steve Lukather is doing it. Just it really hit me this time as like, yeah, it's not one of his greatest songs. I wouldn't say that, but yeah, I said, well, I don't know how I didn't enjoy it the first time, because this time I thoroughly did on the CD. So let's start with talking about World Go Round. Any, how you feel now? I think I'll start with you, Tom, to begin. What do you think?
Thank you. Yeah, didn't listen to it. I heard some of it in passing. Didn't really pay much attention to it. I'm kind of guy that wants to get the CD first before I listen to any tracks. I still haven't listened to the Taxman thing yet, but I'm just going to wait until the box comes out. But Lukather, Joseph Williams, Lukather has been a staple for Ringo now for a while, and I appreciate what his writings for him, but it just seems to me it's like a staple. I mean, Ringo, it's a process, or it's not a process, but it's almost kind of like you gotta write certain lyrics for Ringo. You know what I mean? And this is the kind of thing that they're writing for Ringo. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it almost feels like, in order for Ringo to do these songs, they got to have a certain message in them or certain meaning. And I get this kind of like World Go Round is almost kind of like Weight of the World to me in a little bit. I'm not saying that it's the equal or anything like that. Just kind of got like this, giving a younger person advice kind of thing. That's just how I look at it. Do we want to talk about auto tune now, or I mean, can we all say that?
I still don't notice it, but by all means,
I notice it on every single song on here.
Most people do.
Yeah.
People.
But there's also you mentioned one of the lines in there, and there's one here that I like too. Is we can try to rise above. It only takes a little love. I mean, that's the kind of thing we're getting now. I mean, these last EPs and maybe the last 4, 5, 6 Ringo albums. We're getting these kinds of lyrics, and it's almost like mandatory that every song that he sings, or not every song, but I'm saying at least 1 or 2 songs on the album or EP has to have this kind of thing in it, which again is not terrible when it's a good song. Obviously, we've had a lot of these messages for Ringo when they're really good songs. I mean, but this song, it's good. I don't think it's great, but it's a good little opening rocker from Ringo.
Yeah, and the even when I complain about, it's the same old kind of sentiments and things, they're positive sentiments. We need these positive sentiments. They're good things.
Yeah.
It's just that it's just repetitious is all, not that it's not a good thing,
Right. I agree.
Okay. Ken, I'll go with you next. What do you think?
Well, it's kind of funny what Tom was saying there, because I was thinking the same thing. It doesn't seem to matter whether or not Ringo writes these songs or someone writes it for him.
Mm-hmm.
They all seem to be very positive songs. And I doubt that Ringo is saying to these other people, make sure this must be a positive message here in the song or not. But it just seems like a lot of his stuff is that way. And I have no problem with it. Okay. I do think that, after the post Mark Hudson period, when he was writing with all these different people, from Dave Stewart to Richard Marx, Van Dyke Parks, Gary Burr, Peter Frampton on one song, the subject matter varied a lot. And I found that music to be more interesting for that reason. But there's nothing wrong with Ringo being this super positive person and putting that into his music. It does get repetitious, but yet I still like the songs. I really, I was understanding when you put out that first video, Joe, about World Go Round, same old, you kept saying, and I was thinking the same thing. And it was very repetitious too, especially that chorus. But I had the same reaction when I played the CD. man, does this song kick right in. And it's really, it's produced so well. And you hear Ringo's drums loud and clear, which is one of the things that I love about this EP and a lot of the stuff that Bruce Sugar has produced with Ringo. I like the message, and you could say, some of the same things differently in each song. Ringo these days writes about peace and love. He writes about hope. You can turn your life around, those kind of songs. And that's what World Go Round is. And it's effective and it's done really well. And what I like a lot about this particular song is I love Steve Lukather's guitar work. He does a great guitar solo before the end of the song. And I might as well say this because I'll probably say it for all 4 songs. Those background singers, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
They work for Ringo.
Yes, they do.
We've been saying that for all EPs, for 3 EPs.
Yeah.
Yep. Love them.
I wouldn't mind if he did a duet with one of them or something.
Yes, I agree.
Let one of them do the lead vocal and he'll just drum. For some reason, I never thought, with the exception of going all the way back to something like Oh My, female background vocals work with Ringo's vocals.
Yeah.
And I think they add so much to these songs, all of them. But,
especially Zelma.
Yeah, Selma Davis.
Yeah.
I should also mention that there was a video that was made for Will Go Round,
Yes.
which is just like all the other recent ones of him in the studio working with the band, but you get to see Ringo on just about every fill that he does, and it's so cool to watch him do this. And it sounds great. Like I said, his drums sound fantastic.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I love about the recent productions of Ringo's stuff. But I think I don't know if I'd call this a great song, but I think it's a very good song, and it's better than my first impression of it. This is why I never review anything after 1 or 2 listens.
Yeah, and as I say, but yeah, again, if I could defend myself with that, the thing is, when you have like a channel or something, I still call it first impression. I may use the word review when I do it, folks, because catches the eye and more review, but it's really a first impression, and I try to say that in it. But I know sometimes I see. I don't want to give too much away of what I think of the whole CD for those who haven't heard now, so I won't say the next line. I'll get to it later. But yeah, sometimes songs reward, well, a lot of times with repeated listens, especially if, for me, if there's an inkling of a good song in there. If I think it's good, sounds like promising. Maybe don't love it right away, but I know it's going to be a grower. All right. So, Kit, that brings us to you.
Yep.
What do you think of at this moment of World Go Round?
Well, I mean, positives first. I'll say, yes, guitar. Steve Lukather's guitar in this is great. Ripping solos. Ringo's drumming on this and the other tracks, I agree with you, Ken. They sound, the mix on his drums sounds great. It hits him as hard as ever. He's always just, nails it. I mean that, what is he now, 82? Just incredible for 82. And also agree, background singers. I mean, it's just amazing how much these background singers contribute to almost all the tracks. I mean, they just are just they're pros. I mean, they really are. This one, and I will probably be saying this for this and the other 2 tracks. I just think he's got to start working with some new collaborators. I mean, with new songwriters. I mean, this one, nothing wrong with positive messages. I mean, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But, it's just kind of, we've heard this stuff before. And yeah. I just feel like, I mean, the sentiments are great, but I really like to hear him expand the themes. And I mean, it's just not just for me, it's still, and I gave this several listens. I mean, the chorus is, it's a bit catchy, particularly when these things, and we all make the world go round and round and round. I mean, that has a little catchiness to it, but other than that, I mean, it's, again, we all must work together to create, a better world. And, I know things are tough, but we can all do this. You just said he's done this before again and again and again. And I just, and I know he didn't write this, Steve Lukather and his co-writer did. And I just think, I think you've done this before. and I just thought, and he's done it better, before too. And I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, I didn't hate it or anything like that, but it just made me think more and more. He's got to work with some different people. I think he's got to collaborate with some new songwriters and change up his sound, change up the subject matter.
Yeah, I concur. Even though I'm enjoying it, I'd like it to be a little jump started in a way too. A little change, even for the better. I don't know if Ringo, how inclined he is at this age to do that. He's not changing his all-star band lineup, for a long time. And I like everybody in there.
As much as we say that, I just think he's in a happy place right now, and I think he's enjoying, the few people he is working with, and I think that it's gonna. I mean, yeah, you're right. I think he does need to collaborate with other people, but again, I just think he's in a happy place, and he's gonna, work with who he wants to. I mean,
well, because on the Revolver, I just started thinking of Revolver as you're talking about songs and changing it up. Like you could have like Good Day Sunshine.
Yeah.
You can have For No One. Right.
Yep.
Right.
Eleanor Rigby. You can have I'm Only Sleeping, about, I want to sleep. I mean, just different, topics, and moods.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm not saying,
nice.
Don't sing any more songs about peace and love. I don't want to hear any more about that topic.
One per EP.
I mean, just one.
You got that, Ringo? We love it, but just one.
Just
we want to hear if you have trouble staying awake at night, if you're falling asleep. I mean, what kind of, what do you think about eating kale? Do you love kale? I know you like kale. You don't eat pizza.
I mean, I'd love to, a lot of his past songs, he would do some great, funny, he had some great humorous tunes. I mean, that kind of stuff.
Oh, teach me the tango song. Teach me the tango.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that kind of, I'd love to hear. And I just felt like on this EP, there wasn't enough of that, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. He's written,
Yeah.
Through the years, but he needs to either go back and work with some of those same people or work with new people.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
All right. So we'll move on to the second track, Everyone and Everything, which is written by Linda Perry. And I really loved the song from the last EP that she wrote, Coming Undone. That was my favorite track off Change the World EP. So, okay, so we got this one here, track number 2. Ken, what do you think of Everyone and Everything?
Of the 4 songs, this is probably for me the weakest one. I think it's produced extremely well. The drums kick right in your face.
Yes.
I love that. Another song where the message is that the world has problems and needs changing today.
Yep.
This is a song that, even though I've listened to this EP a lot, it doesn't stick in my brain. I don't really remember how it goes after so many listens, but I still like the message. I think it's an okay song. It's actually a little bit too short a song for me. It ends a little bit too soon for me. But again, produced extremely well, and I love the backing vocals on it. And actually, Linda Perry did the production for that song. It says, but it's okay. It's an okay song.
All right, that's better than a bad song, right? Okay, Kit, you're up. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a song that was really disappointing because when I saw this was Linda Perry writing it, I thought, okay, it's Coming Undone was one of my favorites too, from the previous. So I thought, yeah, this will be good. And yeah, I mean, again, it was kind of the same, the same old, you know, I mean, like, show an act of kindness, don't expect it back. We can learn to be forgiving, maybe teach someone the same. Everything is changing today. And, again, just let's make the world a better place. And that sounds so cynical. Oh, let's make the world a better place, blah, blah, blah. I mean, again, it's nice to have positive messages, but it's just the same, the same message. I mean, in the bridge, it's kind of Ringo seems to be having fun, and it's kind of saying, "Come on, brothers and sisters, let's change it up," and clapping along. And I mean, it's nice to hear him having some fun. But it's as I said, Ken, it's just not very memorable. And and in fact, that bridge sounds like the song could have been a little more fun. I mean, in the middle where they're kind of clapping and singing along, I mean, it could have been something different. And it's just, I mean, it's just not memorable. And I guess I knew it was. I cringed when I heard that first line, "Everybody, where you at?" I thought, oh no, oh no, this is not going to be promising.
It sounds like she's writing for Ringo to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's and and once again, I Tom, you touched on this a little bit. The first song, the auto tune for me on this album was off the charts. I mean, I really noticed it. I mean, and the kind of echo on his voice,
right?
It just sounded very processed. To me, and I'm not expecting his voice to be perfect. I mean, nobody does. His voice, I mean, he never had an absolutely, perfect pitch, super strong voice. I mean, it was, it's a fine voice, but I mean, you don't need to layer it with that much, production and make it absolutely flawless. Nobody wants that. I just think, they're overdoing it. In my opinion, they're overdoing it with the auto-tune stuff.
I got to listen more carefully because to me, I hear the auto-tune on Let's Be Friends. I don't really hear it as much on the other songs.
Yeah, big time on Let's Be Friends.
I'm still glad that I don't decipher it that easily, Tom and I have been through this so many times. It's like rinse and repeat. Right. But I mean, I don't doubt it's there. I'm just glad that it doesn't become like to the point where I'm like, oh, gee, that robotic auto tune,
Yeah, see, for me, it's
I don't
like
really get it.
Screeching out blackboard. Yeah,
So I'm glad. Tom, so what do you think? Everyone and everything.
Yeah, like Kit mentioned, like when I saw Linda Perry, I was like really excited because I think she's becoming a really a real talent for Ringo. I mean, and Ken, you mentioned that about writing for I think we talked about that, writing for Ringo or whatever, but I think this kind of again is we're writing for Ringo. Maybe like you said, maybe he doesn't do a pep talk with these artists, with these writers, like it's like, okay, you got to have this in it, you got to have this in it. Maybe he's not doing that, but I think those artists that are writing for him knows that he wants those kind of songs, and he reacts to those kind of songs again, which is fine. But again, like Ken, like you said, the first thing that jumped out to me was the drumming. I think this is some of his this drumming on this particular track I liked a little bit better than maybe some of the others. I just thought it was a really good, powerful drum track from Ringo. I do like, we talk about these lyrics, but I do like, show an act of kindness, don't expect it back. I mean, it's just a nice thing, which is good. But then you get like you said, Ken, everything needs changing today. Then you're back to, square one with these songs. I will say, with these 4 songs, I think music wise, I think that's really the best thing about, this EP. Is the music, but again, it's another kind of changing song, but it's again, maybe it's the weakest track of the 4. I think I could go with that, but I don't hate it either.
Yeah, I think it's the weakest track. Having said that, I still think it's a nice song. I mean, I liked it enough. It's probably my least favorite of the four. And I made notes here. The background vocals I liked on this one. And in general on the whole thing.
Right.
Linda Perry sings as well. Billy Valentine, Zelma Davis, and Maya Sykes.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know. This is a good time for me to say what I was kind of hinting at before. I liked everything on first listen, which doesn't always happen. I liked all four of these on first listen, and that's what I was kind of saying that I think this has a lot of growth potential for me. Once I like everything, it's only going to get better. I mean, if I just can't stand the song, uh, well, it has happened. It has happened where I can't stand the song and I wind up liking it. I'll just name one: "Deep, Deep Feeling."
Yeah,
McCartney. There's one
I
that I
know.
did. I mean, I was like, "You got to be kidding me with this!" And it just goes on, and I didn't know what he was going for. And then I started getting into the ambiance and the changes and all that. That's another, for another show, right? All right. So yeah, that's the second one. Now number three, we have the song "Let's Be Friends," written by Bruce Sugar and Sam Hollander. All right, and Kid, I'm going to start with you for this one.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You beat me to it in the context of this.
Well, I'll tell you, I will admit the first time I heard this, I really didn't like it. When I
No,
heard that,
no.
yeah. When I mean, when I heard the yeah, I thought,
Yeah.
oh no, no,
Same
no,
here.
no, no, no.
Same here. I was like, oh,
I thought, oh, that is really, really not good. I will say, when I listened to it several other times, I mean, the beat is, it's catchy. Definitely the backing singers add a lot to it. I think they really add the spice to it. As you said, Ken, you really hear the auto tune in this one. I did though find myself, as I was listening to it a couple more times, tapping my foot to the chorus. I mean, the not the yeah 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 part, but the sometimes we're up, sometimes we're down, down. And I found myself, despite my forcing myself not to, I was tapping my foot, and it's catchy in its own way, but the lyrics are pretty, they're kind of simple, I thought, and kind of simplistic. And I don't know, maybe that's what they were going for a sing-along quality. And I'm not expecting super deep lyrics here, but and they even got in Peace and Love. They even got that, and when I Peace and the Love, they even got it in. They got it in.
Yep.
And and I get it. It's let's be friends. Peace and love can turn it around and around. Let's be friends. It's hey, let's all be friends and make the world a better place. Let's bring laughter and love, and and that's fine. I mean, again, that's a nice enough message, but I think part of it for me was just the lyrics just really got in the way for me. I mean, not just the yeah 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 part, but that didn't help.
You're 3 for 3 tonight, there, Kit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it gets a little better. It gets a little better at the end.
Well, I'm going to chime in and say, I like this song when I first heard it. I like the chorus, like you mentioned the chorus. I was thinking of that. I mean, I almost want to sing it, but let's get up, down, shake it out, take it to the ocean.
Yeah.
It's very catchy, and all that bit. Whenever they do that kind of that part, it's very very much fun. I find this a very fun track. When I first heard the yeah 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 yeahs, man, I was cringing. I'm like, oh, it's cringy. I'm like, oh my God, it's so ridiculous and silly. Now I can't live without it.
Yep.
I love the song. It's maybe either my favorite song on this or my second favorite. We'll find out. I haven't decided yet, but I really love this one myself. I think this is a real upbeat, fun song. And I love the yeah 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 yeah. It's stuck in my head, And now, as Ken often says, well, it can't be bad if it's stuck in your head. I still disagree on that sometimes, but this one I like. I think. All right. So I'm gonna put it to Tom next. Tom, what do you think?
Kit, I like this one. I listen. I agree with you 100% on the lyrics, but again, it's the music for me and the yeahs that just do it for me
Okay,
on
that's all right.
this song.
I
And
still love it.
yeah, but that's fine. I mean, I got it written down right here too. I mean, the yeahs was annoying at first, and but somehow after 10 listens, I'm all in.
I only heard it like 2 or 3 times.
Oh, I've been listening to this thing nonstop since Friday. Again, the peace of love can turn it around and around. Yeah, we know, but I do like the you want to sit and stir the pot till it boils. I'm a self-proclaimed pot stirrer myself, so I kind of dug that song.
Well,
dug that
okay.
lyric
Now
a little bit.
it can be told.
Yeah. Some cool guitar work from Lukather on this one. It's not your average, Lukather guitar solo. I really dug what he did for this track. So that being said, it is my favorite of the first three.
I know where we're going. I know
Okay.
where we're going with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know it's because it's not like they're saying yeah, like the Beatles. It's like yeah. It's yeah.
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 For a little variety.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, Ken. So let's hear what you have to say about "Let's Be Friends."
It's kind of like, what all of you have been saying, but, part of the magic of Ringo's music in general is that a lot of his songs melodically are very simple, but they're effective. And you hear it a few times and it stays in your head, and, you're surprised that something this simple you could like. And such is the case with this song. Yeah, the first time I heard the yeahs, I was annoyed by it, and it does stay in your head. They also snuck in not just peace and love, but all together now.
Oh yeah.
I missed that.
How about that? Yep.
But
Good eye.
I like it. I think it's very good. And Bruce Sugar wrote this with Sam Hollander, who continues to do work with Ringo. We should point out, because he's the one that gave us Teach Me to Tango, and Better Days, which is a great song.
I love Better Days.
And Teach Me to Tango was great too.
And Teach Me to
like
Tango.
that
I
a
like
lot.
both of those. Yeah.
He also
good,
wrote
both.
Thank God for Music. So
Good too.
I'm glad to see. I'd like to see Sam Hollander do more work with Ringo. More like Teach Me to Tango.
Yes.
And something like this. So yeah, it's a very good song. I have no problem with any of the songs here on the EP. They go from good to very good. So
now, can I add to that one little thing that I'm confused by, and I wish hopefully Bruce Sugar could elaborate on this one day. Is in the credits it says horn arrangements by Bruce Sugar, and I'm curious if those are fake horns or because if normally when he has any kind of brass on there, actual people doing it, they would be in the credits. So I'm kind of curious. I mean, is he a horn player, Bruce Sugar? I don't know. I mean, but I'm
not
curious.
On World Go Round, there are the sounds of horns on there, and that has to be from a synthesizer. Because
I thought so.
Right. Yeah.
And you can see in the video, there's a guy playing the piano.
Okay. Right.
And right at that moment when there are horns. So I think it's something that was done on the synthesizer.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. All right.
All right. So I guess that brings us to the last song on the album. It's called Free Your Soul. And if I'm right, this is the only one that Ringo had a co-write on, along with Bruce Sugar. And to me, and to a lot of people I'm talking to, this is the surprise of this package.
Yes.
So I don't know who to start with then. I don't know who to start with. Tom, start. I don't know.
We talk about wishing he would do something different. Well, I almost spit out my Coke when the song came on. And even if this song didn't work, I would be happy with it because he's almost kind of like going out of his comfort zone with this, and maybe he's fine, comfortable in that zone. But what I'm saying is we just don't get that a lot from Ringo on his albums or EPs. And I think, the people he has with him, with Dave Koz and Jose Antonio Rodriguez, doing their bit, I think they're great. I will ask, would this song be better if it was just one or the other or both? I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, is it too busy with the nylon guitar and the saxophone in here?
Oh, I don't think
You know
so.
what I mean? It's just questions. It's just questions. Don't fret, people. I love this song.
Okay,
It's just
joining
the
in.
question. Yeah. However, it is the best song on the EP. Does anybody feel like his vocals are kind of buried a little bit? The first time I heard it, I kind of thought so, but after repeat listenings, I think they're kind of like mixed evenly with the music. But it did sound a little down a little bit. I love Let's Dance with the Summer Breezes, Moonlight Shines on Your Face and Freezes. Great lyric. I think that's good. But yeah, this is by far the best song on the EP. And I say, Ringo, please, more of this. If you want to do something different, another genre of music, please try it. And you know what? If it works, great. If it doesn't work, at least you tried something. And I'm very proud of you for doing that. So best song on the EP.
Okay. High praise from Tom. Ken, what do you say?
This was the jewel of the 4 songs, without a doubt. And as much as I hate labels, I'm hearing the introduction of the song and I'm saying, smooth jazz.
Yeah.
Right.
It
Right.
sounds like the beginning of Smooth Operator from Sade.
There you go.
Ringo doing jazz.
Right.
Who would have thought? And it's got a really nice Latin vibe to it. And those 2 musicians that you mentioned, Tom, Dave Koz and Jose Antonio Rodriguez, playing the nylon guitar, they add so much to it. It's really nice. It's very relaxing. It's so different. The only criticism I would make of this EP is something you just mentioned, Tom. There are times when I feel that, I wish Ringo's vocals were pushed up a little bit more. I wouldn't say they're buried, but they could have been a little bit hotter. And, between that and adding a little bit of reverb, sometimes I just wish, I love Ringo's voice the way it is. Blemishes and all, I don't care. I like Ringo's voice. So that's all that I could say. It's such a well-produced song.
Yeah.
4 songs are so well produced. So one of the biggest highlights of this EP is the production behind it. But to hear Ringo do something so different, I mean, this really is the closest he's come to jazz. I mean, he did Las Breezes, Ringo's Rodrigo viewer, but that was kind of more Latin than anything else. But yeah, give me more of this stuff, Ringo, any day.
Yeah, it's sad that, as I often say when we talk about some of these records, that people are missing out. You miss it. You think, oh, Ringo with another EP. Yeah, this is a great song. This is a beautiful song for Ringo. It's something so different, and what a pleasant surprise. I'm concurring with everything. I think it may be the best track on the album. That, and I also like Let's Be Friends a lot, but this might be the best. Okay, so Kit, give us your thoughts.
Now we're getting somewhere. This redeemed the EP for me, because I mean, as you said, Ken, from the moment those sax notes hit, I just thought, whoa, this is Ringo.
Yeah.
But that's great. It was great to hear him get out of his comfort zone. Loved the Latin feel of the track. I think it was Susan who mentioned earlier in the comments, the percussion on this track was just really nice. The guitar, the classical guitar was just gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Dave Koz, what can you say? I mean, he's just always, just that sensual kind of sax style. And the lyrics are just really romantic, and just a great song. And and Ringo, yeah, I mean, this is totally not what you would expect from him, but it sounds terrific. And I will definitely, next time we go back to Turks and Caicos, I will bring this with me on my iPod on the beach.
Nice.
A great beach song. But
Yeah.
this is what I want. I want him to get out of his, get out of this rut and experiment like this with some, collaborating with some different musicians, and and try some different styles. And as you said, Tom, if they, maybe they wouldn't all work equally, but that's okay. I mean, at least you're experimenting. I'm not saying, go out and do a rap album or something. I mean, don't go overboard. But I mean, do something like, do some more country, do some,
Right.
because he sounds great doing that. You can try some different things. He's done some reggae, which it doesn't, it's been a little hit or miss with that, but I appreciate him doing it. I mean, it's fun to hear. So yeah, no question, as you all said, this was the highlight of the EP. And I would love to hear him do more things like this. No
Yeah.
doubt about it.
Sounds really natural with a song like this.
A little
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
Mhm. For
Yeah.
sure.
It was wonderful.
The candlelight
was-
song, get the fire going.
Yeah, let's go light those candles tonight after you get off this.
Yeah, not a bad
Let's
idea.
do it.
Yeah, I was
Um,
just picturing myself, sitting on the beach with a rum punch and ready to go.
The famous rum punch.
Yeah.
This just occurred to me too. I'm always thinking this. This release will mark, if I got it right, 61 years that there's been Beatles music or solo Beatles music.
Wow.
Every year there's been at least one single by one of the Beatles. From I always go by Ain't She Sweet and Cry for a Shadow in 61. And every year, because I did this once, so there's something every year. We missing any years? There was some lean years. 77, you got Mull of Kintyre and Ringo the Fourth. There's some lean year. 85 was a lean year.
Yep.
But
Well, no, he had
You
some.
want? Yeah, yeah.
Sounds like us, yeah.
there's something every year, which I just think is interesting. Well, anyway, one question I was wondering, now that we're at the end of it, the 3 EPs. Now the question is, I guess I'll go with the order, because the order of the screen is different here than I'm noticing from what I'm seeing. Kit, out of the 3 EPs, how would you rank them?
Oh man, this is a tough question.
I put you on the spot.
Just put me on the spot, no problem. Let's see. I think probably I would rank probably, I don't know, I think Zoom In I would rank as number 1. I really like that one. Maybe change probably actually I'll probably rank them the not intentionally, but the order that they came out. Now do you think of it? Yeah, I still think Zoom In is my favorite still. So I would say Zoom In, Change the World, and EP3. I think I would rank this at the lowest, and then Change the World and number 1, Zoom In.
Okay, Tom, what do you think?
Number 3, Change the World. Number 2, EP3. Number 1, Zoom In.
And that would be my order. And thank you for saving me the trouble of having to get them. Yeah, I feel this one is the second best. Zoom In, and then this one. Ken, how about you?
Same thing as yours and Tom's. 3 would be Change the World, 2 would be EP3, 1 would be Zoom In.
Oh, I stand alone.
Sorry, Kid. Well, any final thoughts anybody have on
like I said, musically, I think this is fantastic. Lyrically, I leaves a little left to be desired, but again, mad props for him, changing it up on track 4. The auto-tune thing, I think I've been hearing it myself gradually more and more as these albums and EPs have been progressing, but that's just my ears. But all in all, keep them coming.
Well, Susan was asking, and this is a question I've heard before. Does anyone think Ringo will combine these three EPs into a one LP? And that, if that happens, is going to be quite a controversy.
I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah, I don't either.
I hope he doesn't, because if he does,
Remember
I'm never
there
going to hear
being
the end of it.
some kind of report that was going to happen before this third EP came out. There was talk about that.
Yeah, you're right. I did hear that. And then,
Now,
yeah, I don't
now
think
that
anything
you're saying
happened.
it was almost like kind of officially unofficial or something,
Yeah.
unofficially official. Because there was
Tony,
rumblings about it.
Tony, everything on the planet, everything that people sell is a cash grab.
Thank you, Tom. Please stop, folks, with the cash grab. I made videos on that, rant videos. Since the beginning of time, the idea is that they put things out in business to try to get money, try to make money. Been doing that since we had business, since the silent era days of films and movies and posters. They want to get your money. They don't come in and actually grab it from you. You give it to them. So,
As Steve Martin said in The Jerk, it's a profit deal.
all right. And Ed Chen, hello, Ed. Ed says Ringo already said he would. I'm not trying to save face, but Ken was bringing it up too. In the back of my head, and I think Kit said too. We remember hearing something about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing that. But
I do.
mean, if he does it, then I better hear people complain about that like they complained about the McCartney 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Yeah, there will be. There'll be a lot of complaints. That's why I'm hoping I don't have to deal with it in my comment sections of my videos, because it's never going to stop.
Yep.
Okay, and Tim Allen, that's a very good point. Without money being made, music goes away.
Yep.
People think sometimes, well, I'll vote with my wallet. If you don't not interested, and you say, well, this is too expensive, I'm just not going to buy it. I can wash my hands of it. But I think they interpret that, the companies, as nobody wants physical media. Also, sometimes nobody's interested anymore in these things. Nobody's buying them, so that could come back to bite you in a way. So, on that note, what's the next step to find out where we can be reached? I guess.
Yes, indeed.
Go ahead, Kit.
All right. Well, first of all, you can reach all of the show in general. Of course, we're on Facebook. And if you like our page, you will be notified of all of our future episodes coming up. So be sure to do that. And of course, subscribe right here on our YouTube channel. And, thanks again for all of you who have already subscribed. We really appreciate it. And please tell your friends, and you'll be notified of any future episodes that are coming up. No pun intended. And you can also find us on, if you prefer listening just to the audio version, you can find us on virtually any podcasting platform you can think of: iTunes, Spotify, you name it. You can also find us on our website, talkmoretalk.com. You can find us on Twitter, talkmoretalk1, the number 1. And you can also email us at talkmoresolotalk@gmail.com. We appreciate your feedback. If you have any ideas for future shows, please don't hesitate to let us know. You just might find a suggestion, maybe a future show. And don't forget, of course, if you are interested in being in our Zoom room for our next show, the 100th episode, you do need to register to join, and it's only 25 people. So if you want to join us, you've got to register as soon as you can. As for me, I don't have a whole lot to that's coming up, because I've been so busy with the class I'm teaching now, Roots of Rock and Roll Part 1. Part 2 will be coming up in December, and you don't have to have taken Part 1 to follow it. Part 2 will be on country, on skiffle, So you all know what that is, and much, much more. So if you are interested in that, you can also register for that. That'll be up on our Facebook page and my Facebook page. And also, I just found out in early December, and I'll say more about this closer to the time, I will be leading along with our good buddy Ken Womack another record club, this time on Aretha Franklin's Young, Gifted, and Black album, which I'm really looking forward to. That's an incredible album. So so that's about it from me, I think. That's everything.
Okay, and you can check out my channel on YouTube, Mean Mr. Mayo, for all Beatles and solo Beatles stuff and other goodies and rant videos and other funnies. And also, please check out my movie channel and TV on my channel on YouTube called Mayo After Dark. And I'm going to be doing another movie talk, Q&A movie talk with Tom Agnotti here. We're going to do that. We do that every once in a while. We try to do it once a month. And that's going to be Wednesday, this coming Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. I think it's the 21st, if I got the dates right. Today's the 19th, right?
Yeah.
21st.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And that's it for me. Tom, what about you? What are you up to?
Well, we've had we'll just talk about the last two shows and the one we got coming up real quick. 2 weeks ago, we did a first in the series that we're just going to be going over some past interviews that Paul and or Linda conducted that are pretty that they've been pretty vocal about certain things on. And then this one we did the Playboy interview from 1984. And wow, was Linda pretty vocal about a few things in that one.
I listened to that. Yeah.
And Paul was pretty vocal too, but Linda really had some stuff on her mind that she wanted to get off her chest, and did she? So we talked about that, and it's really the start of him retelling a lot of stories that we've heard over and over and over again. And it seemed like they may have started with this interview. Then this past Saturday, you might have remembered the name Judge Timbers. His name is Tim Bowman.
The guitar
And
player.
the acoustic
That was a
guitar
great
player.
show.
Thank you. And he has a channel, Judge Timbers. And what he does, he's an acoustic guitar player, and he kind of picks a song, whether it's John, Paul, George, or Ringo, or the Beatles. Does a lot of Tom Petty stuff, and he'll play the song. And then after he does that, he'll talk about a lot of the chords, the chord structure, and just how, what his thoughts on the song in general. And you may know that he picked us as one of his favorite podcasts. Things We Said Today, Two Legs as some of his favorite podcasts. So really proud to have him on. And we did 5 songs that he presented, and he talked about in detail about the great, what was great about those songs and acoustic level. So this was first in the series. Our friend Dylan Seavey was going to come back on and do a drumming presentation as well sometime in the future. As McCartney as a drummer. So we'll talk about him soon. And this weekend, very proud to have returning guest Jeff Cummins on the show. Some people will know that he is an artist, and he did the inner jacket of Wings Over America. He did the front and back of Thrillington. He did Temporary Secretary, everybody's favorite Say, Picture Sleeve, and that's just sarcasm right there. And then this one as well. So, and then he talked about some stuff that he was in the works to do, but it just didn't work out for Paul. And we talk about a few other things. When we first had him on, it was an audio only show. So we thought, hey, now that we're video, and then his work is very visual, right? So we thought, let's have him back on and for a visual show, and that'll be up this Saturday. So again, that's Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast. Please check us out on YouTube and subscribe. Thank you very much.
All right, right on. Okay, Ken, you're up. How many plates do you have filled?
Not as much as Tom, though.
Please.
If
anyone wants to write to me directly, my email address is everylittleThing@att.net. Every Little Thing, I hope you all know, is a syndicated radio show that I've been hosting for a long time now. And my newest show, which is going to air on some stations this week, We'll have a mini salute to the Queen, Beatles style, and also a set of songs from #1 Beatles and solo Beatle albums that hit #1 in America. Now, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in our last show concerning Every Little Thing, but normally when I talk about the show, there's a page on my website where you can see all the radio stations that air the show with broadcast times and links to their websites. My show was never available on demand at all. You had to listen to live streams. That is until now. One of the radio stations, WFTU, Fairleigh Dickinson University station in New Jersey, where they run my show Sunday mornings at 6 a.m. Shortly after it airs, they have an archive page now on their website, Recent Archives, it's called. And you can actually listen to my show, Every Little Thing, the syndicated show, on demand. And they post it for 2 weeks. So since my show is on every single week, if you go to that page, there's 2 shows there. So you can listen at your leisure to Every Little Thing. And one more thing about that show, and this is a super cool thing to say. One of the radio stations that airs it is an internet radio station out of Canada. They're called FM 108. And on John Lennon's birthday, they're going to run a 24-hour marathon of my show. Every Little Thing, 24 hours straight.
Damn.
So if you never heard the show before, this is a perfect opportunity because the show represents everything that I am when it comes to the
Wow.
Beatle
It's your
music,
baby.
solo Beatle music, hits, album cuts, deeper cuts, cover versions, tribute songs, novelty records, side projects, thematic sets, original interviews, all packed into 1 hour. So if you can, check it out. And like I said, FM 108, you can go to fm108.ca. That's their website. And WFDU.org, I think. Or I'll give Kit the link and we'll put it in the description box.
Sure.
Cool.
Happy to.
Okay. My other podcast show, Things We Said Today, we just did a show on what each of us felt were the 3 best years of the solo Beatles. Ironically, Alan and I agreed on
That was hilarious.
the first thing, I suppose. But yeah, that was great. You might think that we all thought it would have to be in the first 5 years of the solo years, 1970 through 74.
Oh.
Not necessarily so, but you can hear how we feel on Things We Said Today on our YouTube channel, and lots of audio outlets we're on. Let's see, what else? Do I have anything else? I'm on Sam Wile's show, Paul or Nothing. We just did a recording on the Driving Rain album, and that should be coming out soon. And then on my website, kenmichaelsradio.com, you know there's Beatles trivia there every single week where you can pick one of 10 great prizes, books, CDs, DVDs, vinyl sometimes. And there's a Beatle game called Two of Us that's on there right now as we speak. Play along with it, and you can win one of 10 prizes. I'm sure you'll want one of them. There's quite a lot there to pick from. So I do believe that's everything. Covers
Anything coming up on the Ken Michaels Radio YouTube channel?
Well, probably something later this week. Nothing definite. I'm now going to start doing a few videos of just me alone on things that I want.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't mention this before. I did a news brief for the first time. News and brief together with me doesn't go hand in hand. Actually, on my YouTube channel, there was one thing that I forgot to mention the last couple of months, and that is that there was a duet that Paul McCartney made with Brian Wilson, which came out in 2004. Brian released an album called Getting In Over My Head, and they did a song called A Friend Like You. In fact, that's the name of the series that I do with Tom and Andy on Two Legs, where we talk about side projects of Paul McCartney. So I talk about that in this new video because there's a brand new remix that was done of A Friend Like You, and it's only on Brian Wilson's own website. And I have the link for that. And there's more Paul vocals in it. The only real criticism I ever had to make, because I love the song, really love it. Brian Wilson wrote it with Stephen Kalinich, who's a good friend of mine, has written with different members of the Beach Boys. But the original version didn't have too much of Paul.
Right.
This one has a bit more lead vocals, more backing vocals. You
A
can
bit more of Paul.
better. Yeah. So yeah, check that out. That's a very brief video that I made, but there'll be more coming pretty soon, probably this week.
Nice.
Cool. Excellent.
Okay, so before I just kick it in the head, I just want to remind everybody our next show 2 weeks from now, I think it's October 3rd.
Yep.
It's going to be our 100th show.
Oh,
We've got that special join in festive atmosphere going where the first 25 people who register are going to be able to come up and ask questions of us, not trivia questions, but opinion questions. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Please join us for the special occasion. We'll be on at 9. It's 9 p.m. Eastern, but come up 10 minutes or so early.
Yep.
If you're here, so that we can get you in there. Okay, and I hope I didn't miss any of that, Kit. You can
Nope, that's
chime
it.
in if I missed
We
anything.
already have 5 people signed up.
Oh, come on, they're going
20
fast.
more, baby. 20 more. Come on.
Let's go. All
We're
right,
gonna have
so
some fun that night.
Yes,
this is
indeed.
the hard part I have. So
Gonna have some fun tonight. Yeah.
So for Kid O'Toole, Tom Agnotti, Ken Michaels, this is Joe Mayo saying, we all make the world go round. You're not alone in this. We all make the world go round. Peace